This is the petitioner, Ms. Woodwright's motion to seek a personal protection order. She's in the courtroom. She's in pro se. Ms. Bazan also appears in the courtroom. She's also in pro se. Would you both please raise your right hands?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this case is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes.
Thank you. For purposes of history in this matter, Ms. Woodwright filed an ex parte motion seeking a personal protection order against the respondent. That was on March 16, 2026. The court reviewed that petition the very same day and issued an order the very same day denying the petition for personal protection order, stating that the petition is not clear relative to two alleged unconsented contacts. When it appears some of the allegations involve the petitioner's minor children, petitioner may request a hearing if she wishes to, with notice to the respondent. It is the petitioner's burden to seek a personal protection order by preponderance of the evidence. And so the burden rests with you, Miss. What is the reason you're requesting a personal protection order?
Your Honor, it has been an ongoing situation that the respondent has been using slurs against my disability. She has been screaming and cursing for children playing in a commons area upstairs in our own level apartment. She has come out and produced a cell phone and recorded myself and my children while she has blocked off the entrance and the stairwell that is the only entrance and exit in the building, while she proceeded to insult me and use discriminating comments. And then she then proceeded to return to her home when I made a police report that same day. It is in the massive stack of evidence. She continues to post on her social media in regards to myself, my mental health, my disability, my whereabouts, my ins, my outs. When I'm doing something, even carrying my child up the stairs, saying I'm not disabled enough to be doing that. It is insulting to myself. It is insulting to my children to be mentioned on her personal public Facebook page. And she has even gone as far as, unfortunately, going to the police department and telling them words that did not get said and using an image that she had requested over a year ago or 6 months ago in lieu of it being where I was at the bus stop waiting for my children, and I had seen the Seaboing chief's wife. She had then made derogatory remarks against me towards the chief's wife, which then caused a stir with me and the chief of police. It caused an emotional distress, causing...
So she allegedly made statements about the chief's wife that made a problem with you?
She said it was me. She said I said something in the matters of his wife reporting for booty duty at somebody's house. And that was not said. And it was a vague picture to show where the house was, because she said, which house is it? And I sent a vague picture. And this was over 6 months ago. And the chief then responded in upset, and that is understandable, but it caused me grave emotional distress, which caused anxiety, hyperventilation, to the point of being extremely ill, to the point of almost blacking out and needing emergency service from my caretaker. And I was on bed rest for the rest of the day.
So, I mean, I reviewed the initial items you had submitted to the court for the determination whether to issue an ex parte personal protection order. And then in this motion, I mean, they're just pages and pages and then comments. I mean, that
I apologize for the comments.
well, it's impossible for the court to understand what this is about. Now, mind you, I don't know if this is hearsay or not. I have no idea, but I need to have firsthand observations by you to indicate two or more unconsented alleged stalking type of situations which would warrant a personal protection order. But your original request was from, you even mentioned over 6 months ago, correct?
No, Your Honor. This is really confusing, and I had hoped that we had gone last because it's a lot, and I know you like short and sweet, but
No,
there's
that's not true.
there's no short
Excuse
to
me,
this.
miss, short and sweet. Oh, no. If you wanted to see short and sweet, you should have seen my predecessor, whom I highly respect. My predecessor, the Honorable M. Richard Knobloch, it would be more than quick. I allow, and I'm not saying he never did, but I allow the parties the opportunity to speak. And I even asked them again, is there anything else? I do that for a reason, because you are entitled to have a hearing and to bring all this information out. But I take umbrage with that statement that the court looked short and sweet. That's not how we work.
Well, I meant that in no disrespect.
And I'm not taking it that way, but I want to make sure you understand that's where we stand here. But I do recall, though, in your request, originally, you referenced June 2025.
Yes, that is when this whole matter had started, the end of our friendship, Your Honor.
Oh, there's a friendship.
There was a prior friendship.
Okay, that's fine.
That is all. I wanted to get the whole truth and nothing but what happened.
Sure.
I have a timeline, and it is an outstanding 10 pages long. And it is just a lot of her posting on social media in correlation to what she has never brought to me personally without screaming and cursing at my children first.
Are you alleging it's slanderous?
I am.
There are other causes of action which I can't get into, but how does that apply toward a personal protection order regarding stalking?
Your Honor, she has mentioned, and it is, my apologies. I'm just going right here and read it from her own post.
Uh, 2,000 years later.
Again, I apologize for the delay and everything else. I am quoting her own personal Facebook page. She makes a comment that she simply said, someone who claims to have PTSD sure causes a lot of stress and everyone in the building. If she would stay out of the hallway and stop yelling at everyone or allowing her children to play board games in the hallway, there would be less noise and there would be no complaints. As it is listed in our lease that a commons area is not a playground. If she claims to have such a disability, she can sure climb stairs, stand in the hallway, making up her own stories and speaking Spanish off of the top of her railing to us. I watched her carry groceries up the stairs. I watched her carry a baby up the stairs. She claims that she's been in bed. She claims that her doctor told her my stress is causing her complications. There is no need for someone to be watching the ins and outs of anybody who is coming into the building, especially when making derogatory statements about someone's disability, to tell me or tell her whole Facebook that she is watching me go up my stairs, go down my stairs, carrying my child.
And I'm not trying to be cute or coy with this, but does it ever mention your name?
She posts my personal Facebook page that has my name on her Facebook.
No, I asked whether or not these posts list your name on it.
No, but I am the upstairs neighbor that she insinuates, sir. Because she says in her Facebook as well that every other neighbor in our building is cool and it's just her. And she only yells at my children and only causes issues and disturbance between me, even if everybody else is out of their apartment with us.
So I clearly noticed Chief Repke is here, Chief of Police, Sebring Police Department. I'm assuming you've called him regarding these allegations, correct?
He first came towards me with.
No, I asked a question. Have you called him regarding these allegations?
I have not called him.
Why not?
I have called Sebring Police, but not him personally.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, my question was too specific then. Did you call law enforcement complaining of these allegations?
I certainly did, sir. And
Okay.
then they.
And was the Sebring Police Department sent out?
The Sebring Police Department had made a call towards me and said, just make a note of it if you have a notebook.
Did you reach out? Because it appears that, and I'm looking at one of your pages here, this was a complaint form to the apartment complex, and it references the Sheriff's Department. The tenant of A9 was served PPO paperwork by the Huron County Sheriff's Department. So has the Sheriff's Department been involved as well?
Yes, Deputy Loss had served her the hearing paperwork.
I see. So this is as of March 23rd, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Anything else you want to bring up?
I believe it is discriminating against my disability that she uses her personal Facebook to make an appearance of myself that is not valid. It is falsified information. She has used the police against me in saying that I make false reports, which I have only made reports against her. The fact that she is talking about my children literally every day. And she claims that she is making monetization, more money on the drama here. And this is my personal life. This is my disability. She has no right to say, I am not disabled enough for her own, and then post it on Facebook, having people weaponize themselves and claim to say they can come to my town of Sebring and open a can of whoop ass against me. I have done nothing against this person except for tell her to shut her mouth, stop screaming, stop cursing, come up and talk to the parents. There was no Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. She is making false claims against me. She even has people of Sebring that have businesses comment about my mental health and how I am a psycho bitch. And that is unacceptable.
Do you have any other witnesses you intend to call?
Not present, but I do have an exhibit if.
And what is your proposed exhibit?
It is her final message to the world about how she can continue to post whatever she wants on Facebook because it's her Facebook. And it doesn't matter who she posts about because she's allowed to do what she wants, even if it is harassment, even if it is saying she can stalk me and know my ins and outs, and that she deserves a peaceful environment. Yet, so do I. I deserve to have a space knowing that I lived there for 4 years. She still moved in. She claims that I have been intimidating her. And then she claims against that, saying that she's been ignoring me. I honestly forgot she lived there until these issues arise, sir.
Okay, hold on to that. I'd like to hear from the respondent. Miss, how do you respond to all this?
Well, I'm here today because Brittany is my neighbor and we used to have a friendship. Our friendship ended in June of last year. I have made no physical contact with her besides a brief verbal altercation in the hallway about her kids being loud. I've lived in this apartment complex for over 6 months. I've never interacted with her. I went on with my life since June of last year. I've gotten pictures put on my door of me coming into my apartment with her own contents. I made police reports. I
Who did you make
also,
police reports with?
the village police
Village of
department,
Sebring? Okay.
yes. And I've only made one police report in the last 6 months since our friendship has ended. There's only one police report, and that's since I've lived, and that's when it started in March. I believe it might have been the end of February, beginning of March. We stopped being friends because Brittany was complaining about other neighbors. I have a lot of personal messages between me and her about those neighbors. And I also have messages of pictures of those neighbors that she took in public places. I also have messages about saying she's going to kick the neighbor's teeth in. I also have messages from Brittany, how she's upset because she didn't like the way that the village police was handling her complaints, which I also have a copy of. 9 additional incidents for the Sealing Police Department have responded to complaints from Mrs. Wrightwood, which didn't result in a report being filed. They were documented in their daily logs. There's only one police report made against me. If I've been harassing her, as she states in her petition, for over a year, also with threats of saying that my boyfriend flashed a firearm concerns, said I have a pattern of habitual harassment. I called the police because I didn't know what to do about it. We had a brief verbal altercation in the hallway about her kids being loud. And since then, she has fixated and pivoted her harassment towards me because I showed the chief of police all of her personal messages. Even the ones regarding to he's not doing his police duty, he must not be doing his booty duty. And sent me a picture of their personal vehicle at someone's house in the community. I didn't know whose house it was. I sent all that information over to the chief of police himself so he could review it. In his defense, he confronted her and questioned her about it. That's his right to do. Why did you take these pictures? He questioned her. I think there might have been a post that he made on his personal page about it because it's really concerning behavior. No names, who took the picture, who sent him the picture. And since then, Brittany has filed so many complaints to the housing department, and these didn't start until 3/15, which was the day of the incident. She's been retaliating harassment against me because I'm sure she's probably embarrassed about her behavior. Integrity means a lot to me. I've been in this community for 5 years. I lived down the street from Brittany. Even after we weren't friends, we went our separate ways. I didn't want to be friends with her anymore. She didn't want to be friends with me because the chief of police, I had those messages, was on my personal Facebook page, and she unfriended me. And I quote, "This is the last time I've ever contacted her on social media, and this is June 9th, 2025. If you didn't want me to talk to him anymore, that's kind of an odd request. It's not okay for what he did," meaning I'm acknowledging her feelings because I'm an empathic, I have empathy for other people. "Life goes on, and I won't sit and be mad every day about it. Push me out, that's fine. I don't trust people anymore either. Instead of coming to tell me you're upset, you unfriend me. That's not fair, but that's your choice. Sorry I bothered you. You were my only friend here." She said, "Exactly. Life goes on." I said, "Please leave me alone. I didn't do anything wrong." And she puts, "Laugh out loud. You're something else." She then texted my boyfriend and said, "Grow the F up. You got to throw your 2 cents in another platform." I responded, which I shouldn't have. This was June of last year, by the way, Your Honor. I said, "Now you're texting Alex's phone. Don't harass me and get obsessed over a situation that you created in your head. I didn't do anything wrong but tag a cop in a funny post, and you've all been unashamed." It was a funny TikTok trend that I tagged Chief's personal Facebook in, and she was offended by it. She made me her enemy.
Okay, I just want to interrupt here for a second. the petitioner is alleging that you're posting all this on Facebook about disability and all this stuff. How do you
No.
respond to that?
No. I have personal messages between me and Brittany that was included into housing complaints that she was filing disability discrimination, and that was my defense.
So you're denying posting anything on Facebook?
Sir, it is 4 inches thick. I went through some of it, and it's very emotional and distressing to see her own responses to things that are not even regards to her. I have a lot of neighbors. Some of my posts, they might have been about her, but it's nothing threatening. I have had Facebook for 16 years, the same account. I blocked her. I've changed my name, my profile picture, my cover photo, my location, and she's documented all of that. I don't know how she's seen my page. I tried to block her from it, but then she puts it on my door. Even after she filed the PTO, she continued to put stuff on my door as new evidence. She's taken pictures of me exiting and leaving my apartment complex and put it on my door, insinuating I called her a psychopath and a pussy. Excuse my language, I don't even like talking like that. But ever since I alerted the chief of police about her behavior, her harassment escalated.
Okay.
And I've lived here for 6 months.
I think I've heard enough.
I'm sorry.
No disrespect. Court sua sponte calls Chief Repke. Chief, would you please step up to the witness stand? Please state your name for the record.
Stephen Repke, last name spelled R-E-P as in Paul, K-I-E.
Your employment, sir?
I am the chief of police in the village of Seaboyne.
How many years so employed?
As the chief here for
How many years in law enforcement?
40,
In your duty as the chief of police of Seaboyne, are you, as a part of your overall duties, to address complaints that may be filed by residents or anyone within the village of Seaboyne?
that is correct, sir.
And have you had the opportunity to hear what has been stated so far in the courtroom regarding what appears to be a dispute between neighbors within an apartment complex?
I have.
Okay, how many times have you gone out to either residence since June of 2025 pertaining to issues between neighbors?
Necessarily not gone out to, responded to telephone calls in context with the police department. I would say countless.
Countless?
Countless. I would 15 to 20 of calls I've taken in regards to complaints about the rules being violated in that apartment complex.
Okay. When you had received these calls,
And it's not just me, Your Honor, it's my officers too,
sure. So at least 15 to 20.
that I could just off the top of my head.
Okay. But you're stating there could be more.
Yes, sir, that the other officers may have taken a phone call and didn't find that it's grown tiresome.
All right. And is it fair to say that when law enforcement receives a telephone call, whether it be through, well, typically through dispatch, you have a duty to follow through with it, right?
Correct.
And are there occasions where phone calls may come in that may not go through dispatch, for instance,
Correct.
that you would or your department may address on the phone, and that would be the end of it?
As advice only, yes, sir.
Sure. And is that part of what has been happening here?
Yes, sir.
What are the complaints regarding?
Overall, noise in the hallway, noise from other apartments, kids riding their bikes in the parking lot, getting too close to vehicles, parking complaints about people parking in their parking spots, things like that.
And does this particular apartment complex have a manager?
Currently, I'm not sure. Then they did have a part-time manager.
All right. And typically, are those matters addressed through the apartment complex?
That has been our advice, that it would have to be addressed through the apartment complex.
So anything that you've received complaint-wise from June 2025 to present that would be alleged criminal activity by either of these parties?
None.
So being the eyes and ears of the village of Seaboyne, Bottom line, what's going on here?
It occurred before June too. There was other neighbors that would make complaints.
Against who?
Miss Woodwright.
Okay.
There's others that have moved. It's been kind of a constant thing. And then it seems to have ramped up since June. And then it really ramped up once Miss Bazan made me aware that pictures were being taken of my wife's personal vehicle and forwarded to other people in town.
Is that concerning?
That was very concerning, Your Honor, so concerning that I made my officers aware of the incident, and I also made friends and family aware of the incident. My son reacted. It was my son's house that the pictures were actually taken at, where we often take care of our 2-year-old grandbaby that has a very rare disease. One that they really can't even put their fingers on, and my wife's often over there. So it touched a nerve, especially when my wife, who is a labor and delivery nurse and has dedicated her life to helping others, is accused of being on a booty call. I was highly offended.
Now, regardless of, and yet I'm not trying to put that
No, sir, I understand.
down, but does that have anything to do with how the department investigates any phone calls coming into your office regarding disputes between neighbors?
Absolutely not. It seems to have ramped up since then to the point that we actually received a complaint via Child Protective Services making allegations against Miss Bazan and her boyfriend that about a handgun being waved and things like that, which was never reported to the police department, but it was felt that it should be reported to CPS. I just feel that this has become a retaliatory thing against Miss Bazan.
Ms. Woodwright, do you have any questions of the chief?
I just know, Your Honor,
Oh, no,
that
I just questions. Do you have any questions?
Ms. Bazan had contacted Chief after she had threatened me and I had made a report. And I know.
Wait, is
for a
that
fact-
your question?
Yes, I would like to
Okay,
know,
please phrase it in the form of a question.
did Ms. Bazan make a report and then, or after I made a report, contact you in regards to something that was about 6 months ago? And then that's what caused the concern and stir up between you and I.
Miss Bazan did. I had an officer follow up on a report that Miss Woodwright had made. Miss Bazan had come in on a weekend when I wasn't working, and the officer was able to follow up on the allegations. And then Miss Bazan did contact me after that. I'm very transparent in my community. If people want to friend me on Facebook, I very seldom turn it down. I've actually known Miss Bazan and her fiance since they were teenagers, from my time in Cairo, Your Honor.
Next question.
Would that include a personal relationship that would insinuate more of a belief system that the accuracy of what was told and shown to you against me, sir?
Would you please say that again?
The imaging and communication that allegedly happened between myself and Ms. Bazan, would your personal relationship between you and Mrs. Bazan have a greater concern for more of a belief that this is accurate and true communication that she and I had?
Not necessarily. I was concerned about the fact that my family was brought into the matter and that pictures were being taken of my family members within the community. I felt that it was a potentially dangerous and troubling situation. So did I weigh relationship any deeper or heavier with the Bazans and the Davises? I would say no. I try to weigh out everything as equal as possible and approach everything as impartially as I can However, was I very concerned? Absolutely. Your actions by taking the pictures of my family within the community, I found extremely troubling. I take it as a threat to my family.
Any other questions?
And was there clarification made between yourself and myself of what had happened over social media after?
I accepted your apology. But that doesn't mean that I still do not find your actions extremely troubling. And it has caused apprehension within my family. My wife, my son, my children, my daughter-in-law, because I have to put them on notice that they're being watched in the community.
Any other questions?
If this was such a troubling situation and taken so seriously by Mrs. Bazan, why didn't she communicate that towards you sooner than until after a police report was made against her for harassment?
That's speculation. That's going into the mind of another party, which this witness does not have the ability to do. That motion, I'm starting that question. Do you have another question? I have to follow the rules of evidence.
No, I just know, Your Honor, that this happened over 6 months ago. And if there was no date of when this occurrence had
You can
happened,
bring your argument. Do you have any questions, though? Any further questions?
was there a timestamp of when this had occurred?
I did not see one.
So it was a valid threat of right now presence.
I deemed it as such.
No further questions.
Do you have any questions?
Me?
Yes, of the chief.
I would just like to know why there was false allegations made of flashing of a firearm.
That's beyond the scope of this witness as well.
Other
That's
than that,
assumed as facts, not in evidence.
Other than that, I don't have any questions.
Chief, you may step. Thank you, sir. You're welcome. Final argument.
My argument, sir. She is being dishonest with you. She is portraying the victim of something that has been an ongoing situation, which there are TikTok messages after I just unfriended her, Your Honor. And she then went to my partner at the time, messaged him, went to my TikTok, messaged me, blocked me, unblocked me, messaged me. I texted her phone that she gave me her number to, told her to just stop. Words lesser than what was said, stop. She then unblocked me and had more to say, which is in the documentation.
Thank you. Miss, your final argument.
My final argument is I have not committed any crimes. I do admit to having a verbal altercation about her kids being loud in the hallway, but other than that, that's between management. We don't have an on-site manager at the time. We have a part-time one, and they're well aware of these incidents as well as the false allegations. But other than that, I feel very unsafe in my apartment, even though I've been there for 6 months. She's shown a severe pattern of harassing others, not just me, and this has been retaliation. The PPO was filed after I told Chief about her behavior. And the reason why I didn't bring it to Chief's attention in June, the end of our friendship, because it was the end of a friendship. It's drama. Integrity and means a lot to me, and I brought my children to the community of saving to raise them there, not to raise them around chaos and disability discrimination and firearm concerns, accusing me of using drugs. It just goes on and on. We could be here all day if I sat here and read everything that she has said against me, but there's no police reports. Just one about me yelling at her in the hallway of our apartment complex. All these other police reports with everybody else, all the other tenants, prior and current.
Thank you. At the conclusion of a hearing requesting a personal protection order, the court has to state the reasons for either granting or denying the personal protection order request. That's pursuant to MCR 3.705 as well as MCL 600.2950(7). Also, if the petitioner is requesting a non-domestic stalking personal protection order, the court has again state the reasons why, either granting or denying. And that's what the court is doing here. The initial petition was requested ex parte. The court denied that based upon the information that was contained within the petition being insufficient. In this case, we have a relationship, a friendship apparently that broke off either in May or June of 2025. And essentially the relationship went off the rails. According to the petitioner, it was constant harassment, posting of messages, etc. on Facebook, contact in the hallway, etc. All these activities allegedly going on. Further, the petitioner is claiming that messages have been posted since then, which she believes to be, again, reason for a non-domestic stalking personal protection order. The respondent, on the other hand, states in part that the petition, strike that, not the petition, but the friendship broke off again in May or June of 2025. And since then, there have been ongoing issues in the apartment complex, potentially loud noises, children playing in the hallway, whatever the situation may be. But she states under oath as well, as a petitioner with completely opposite evidence, testimony, that she's not posting anything. I inquired of the petitioner regarding whether names were specifically posted of individuals, of the petitioner, stated by respondent that something was going on here. And there are none, but you also have to think about, well, is there something else going on here that's a problem? And there are even allegations now of, for instance, someone carrying a firearm, displaying a firearm, which at a minimum, the court can take judicial notice, at a minimum would be at least felonious assault, potentially a 4-year felony, unlawful display of a firearm. I mean, these are serious allegations. These are criminal allegations. Police were not contacted. However, Department of Health and Human Services apparently was contacted. And there's nothing in the record to indicate to the court whether or not anything was followed up with that investigation or not. The court, on its own initiative, sua sponte, had called Chief Repke, Stephen Repke of the Sebring Police Department. I saw him in the courtroom. Actually, when the case was called, I saw him stand up, and which drew my attention to him as well. And so I'm trying to find out what indeed is going on here. That's what all the court's trying to do. And the reason for the court doing that is, at least from my experience, when it comes to law enforcement, the purpose of a police agency is to protect and to serve, number one. Number two, they're to investigate criminal complaints, request arrest warrants, file charges, etc. That's their job. And Chief Repke had taken the witness stand. And I had asked him regarding what may be going on. And what it sounds like is just constant calls, countless, I think was his word specifically, countless calls coming into the Sebring Police Department, not only himself, but his other officers, regarding disputes or issues going on inside this apartment complex. Even issues where someone's parking in the wrong parking spot, or trivial matters like that. May not be trivial to those who are at the apartment, but it's trivial, generally speaking, because we're talking about non-domestic stalking. We're talking repeated contact where there are threats involved. And what the court heard was basically what I find, based upon the testimony, simply a relationship that's gone bad and toxic to the point where, as soon as this court finds that if the respondent is even around the petitioner, and I can't help the fact they live in the same apartment complex, it brings up all these bad feelings and all these allegations are made. And I mean, it's just thick as thick can be here regarding what's going on or what's alleged to be going on here. To add fuel to the fire, I get a response from the respondent who is who's testified under oath that the petitioner, though she may be afraid that she's being stalked, posting messages on the respondent's apartment door. That's what she testified under oath. I allow final argument to allow the parties to raise their points, and then the court can make a decision based upon having all the knowledge here. Not once did I hear in the petitioner's prayer for relief and or final argument to say, that's not true, that didn't happen. So it's uncontroverted that petitioner is putting things on the respondent's door. And I know for the record, the petitioner shaking her head, but there's nothing in the record indicating that that was not done. So it begs the question, why in the world would someone need a personal protection order based upon alleged stalking when, one, the individual is not referenced in any Facebook messages, second, the respondent denies them that there were posts, but more importantly, the petitioner continues to go to the respondent and put items on the door. Why in the world would you do that if you were afraid or you were stalked? There is absolutely no evidence in this case for personal protection. Personal protection order request is respectfully denied. That is all. Off the record. 268175 PH. It's really Madeline Toner, but the petition reads Maddie Toner, so that's why the court stated as such. Case number 268175 PH. The time and date set to challenge a personal protection order that was granted by this court on March 16, 2026. Both parties are present. Would you both please raise your right hand?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this case is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thank you. Back on March 16, 2026, the court received a personal protection order request. And that was requested ex parte, which means that it was requested without a hearing. And after the court reviewed the petition and reviewed the attachments, including a police report, the court issued a personal protection order against Ms. Toner. And in its reasoning, the court stated there were two separate acts of contact with the petitioner, including sending an intimidating social media message and alleged assault and battery and or assault upon the petitioner. Ms. Toner is challenging that, and that's what this hearing is about. The burden of proof rests with the petitioner to continue the personal protection order. So I am going to ask Ms. Bedford to explain why you believe this personal protection order should be continued. Go ahead, please.
I have written a statement and I do have a copy to turn in as an exhibit as well. Do you mind?
Why don't you just read it into the record, please?
Okay.
That's your statement.
My name is Hope Bedford. Before the assault, I felt safe living in my usual routine. After it, my life has been constricted. I do not feel safe going out in public anymore, anticipating that I will run into either Heather or Madeline. This incident has changed aspects of my social life by making me question where I can be at with my friends without being attacked by these individuals. The physical injuries healed, but for nearly 2 weeks, sleep has no longer been restful as I could not turn off my thoughts. I have been anxious while at work and then have had to explain why I wasn't attending activities that I was attending before the assault. The pain wasn't only scratches and a busted lip, it has also been the daunting feeling of being stuck in fight or flight mode. I do not feel that it is necessary or required to be put in a situation again where I have to defend myself. This pertains to any physical and or verbal assaults in person or online that may be directed at me. Emotionally, I have been living with fear and anger simultaneously. I feel angry that someone else's actions forced revisions on my life that I had never asked for, modifications on where I go, what I do, and whom I trust have taken place in my life. I am only 26 years old, and I believe that I should not have to walk through my daily routine wondering what will happen to me next. I shouldn't have to walk around in fear. The fear and emotional distress I experienced are ongoing and directly tied to the incidents that led to the original order. I am most concerned about the retaliation that may take place due to me contacting local law enforcement. The night of the assault, I was completely humiliated in a room full of friends and patrons who frequently visit my place of employment. Madeline decided it was acceptable to put her hands on me and verbally assault me while doing so. I believe a termination to this order does not fully reflect the seriousness of the verbal and physical assault that I had experienced. I was the one who received the threatening message from Madeline. I was the one who was verbally assaulted and then physically assaulted on the night of the 14th. Therefore, I am attempting to protect myself and ensure that I won't be in any additional situations or with reoccurring scenarios. Since the incident, I continue to feel vulnerable. Madeline's past actions have demonstrated a disregard for my safety and personal boundaries. I respectfully ask the court to consider the sustained impact on my security, my work, and my mental well-being, and to establish provisions that protect me moving forward. My intention is not to escalate the situation, but to ensure my safety and prevent further harm.
Ms. Bedford, prior to, I obviously read the petition and I've read the response. Prior to February 13, 2026, was there a relationship, friendship, acquaintance between you and the respondent?
No, not at all.
Okay. And as I read in the petition, apparently on the 13th of February, you were at a local establishment. We don't need to name it, but you were at a local establishment. And what was your purpose in going to that establishment on February 13th?
My coworkers and I would often go to the wash after our shifts, as it is right down the road from our establishment, just to sit and mingle.
All right. And on that day, were there things said by you that caused some sort of stir in the room? Or explain what happened. What happened on that night?
Me and my coworker were having a personal conversation in regards to people who he had went to school with and people that I had known. And I had mentioned Madeline Toner's name, and we began discussing her.
Okay,
And
let me stop you. You said a personal conversation. What does that mean?
as in, like, we weren't talking at a volume to where I would be concerned about what I was saying.
Okay, so are you stating that you're not, you know, for instance, let's say you were talking about me. Well, Prill is this, Prill's that. You know what I'm saying? The loudness and for all to hear. Are you stating that that's not what occurred?
Correct.
Okay, so you're having some sort of conversation regarding Ms. Toner. How did you know Ms. Toner if you really didn't have an association with her?
I used to be friends with somebody who was friends with her.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
So I
so-
never.
And I don't want to go into what may have been said by you, but something was said regarding Ms. Toner, correct?
Yes.
By you.
Yes.
What happened next?
Her mother had approached me and told me, I just want to let you know that is my daughter. I don't appreciate you speaking about her. And immediately I apologized.
Okay. How do you know that this is Ms. Toner's mother?
I had no idea until she had told me.
Okay. And was her mother also a patron that night, or?
She was the bartender.
Oh, okay, she's a
Yes.
bartender.
Yes.
How far away were you from her when you were having this conversation with your friend?
I believe that as I was having this conversation with my coworker, she was walking up to the table.
Okay,
Yes.
so fair to say she overheard something.
Yes.
Okay, so you get confronted about it. Was it respectful?
No.
Why? Explain to me why you feel it wasn't.
She was very nasty towards me after, and I admitted, I said, I am wrong and I apologize. And it just kept going, and her volume just kept getting louder and louder.
Okay. After that happened, what happened next?
I had received a message from Madeline via Facebook Messenger, and I do
Is
have.
that the one that you
Yes.
submitted? Okay,
Yes.
it's court reviewed. Did Ms. Toner's presumed mother do anything to you at the bar? Because there's something about banning. Do you recall that? Did something happen at the bar that night?
I went to leave, and I was going to go and apologize to Miss Toner's mother again. And as soon as I put my coat on, she looked at me and said something along the lines of,
Well, we can't go to what was said, but bottom line, were you banned from coming back into the?
I was not, no,
No. Were there any words to that effect? Just get out?
just get out.
Okay. Did you comply with that?
Yes,
Okay. After you left the establishment, when is it that you claim this message was sent from Ms. Toner to you?
this message was sent while I was still sitting in the establishment.
Oh, okay. And just want to read it into the record so we have it clear. According to this, must not have anything better to do with your effing time, huh? Have to go and run your mouth at the local bars, question mark. Small town, word travels fast. Better watch what you have to, I'll say, effing say. Is that the message?
Yes,
How did you take that message?
as a threat,
Why?
because the last sentence, you better watch what you have to say, that I took that as a threat because I did apologize when I was wrong.
Okay. So after the message was sent, anything go on after that?
I left the establishment.
Right, but any other communications or interactions between you and the respondent up until March 14th?
No, not between me and Miss Toner.
Okay, radio silence, right? No issues.
Yes,
Did you go into this establishment prior to March 14th?
no,
Why not?
I just avoided it.
Okay. However, you claim that you went into the establishment on March 14th, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so we're talking a little over 2 weeks ago, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm just looking at the calendar. You go into the establishment for what purpose?
To celebrate a friend's birthday.
Okay, so you go in, correct?
Yes.
What happens?
I immediately after I walked through the door, the respondent's mother, Heather, was standing on her chair screaming my name. I did make eye contact with her, but I decided that I was just going to ignore her. And I walked over to a group of people, friends / coworkers that were in the establishment.
Was this person working that night?
The person we were going to celebrate.
No, I'm sorry, who you believe to be Ms. Toner's mother. Was she working that night?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay. And was Ms. Toner in the establishment as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, what happened after you claim mother was either yelling your name or made some sort of fracas here to get your attention? What do you claim Ms. Toner did?
After the statement was made, shortly after, I was approached by not only Heather, the respondent's mother, but the respondent as well.
Okay. And what happened?
Basically, Heather decided that she was going to verbally attack me, and then she verbally assaulted me. And then shortly after, Madeline did the same as well.
What do you mean by verbal assault?
Just saying, like discriminatory things, calling me, cursing at me, stuff like that.
Okay. You allege in your petition, though, that there's something physical that happened as well.
Correct.
Now I want to focus, let's focus first on respondents you claim mother.
Yes.
All I want to focus on is what happened in the establishment at the time. What do you allege that this individual did?
She shoved me.
Okay. Did you approach her?
No, I was approached by her.
Did you incite her in any way?
Absolutely not, no.
Okay. As a result of the push, is that when essentially all, for lack of a better phrase, all hell broke loose inside the establishment?
Yes,
Okay. What did you see, if anything, of what Ms. Toner may have done?
to me personally.
Yes.
She was standing in front of me. She was looking me dead in my eyes. She had pushed me. I went to defend myself. She had stated, I am pregnant, you cannot hit me. So therefore, I took my attention off of her and back to her mother.
Okay. Did you confront her, Ms. Toner?
No, Your Honor.
Who approached who?
Madeline approached me.
Okay. And as a result of this alleged melee, were police called?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Police responded
Yes, Your Honor.
and some sort of complaint was made.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Why do you believe a personal protection order, in your own words, and I know you read your statement, and I appreciate that, but why do you feel that we need to continue this personal protection order?
I feel like the court needs to continue this personal protection order for my safety. I feel as if the personal protection order was lifted off, that there would be more incidents to be taking place. I feel like there would be more verbal incidents and even possibly physical incidents as well.
You placed in your petition that you were allegedly barred from going into the establishment. Do you recall that in your petition?
Yes, I want to say that personally, no one has reached out to me to let me know that I was barred.
Well, you've alleged in your petition that apparently you reached out to the establishment owner. Is that correct?
I don't believe so, Your Honor.
Did I read that wrong?
I believe that my dining room manager from my workplace had reached out to.
Okay, yes. Okay, that's right. In your petition, you allege that your EB
Mhm.
made contact. And were you indeed barred from the establishment?
Not to my knowledge, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to add before I ask whether you have any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Do you have any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Toner, this is your opportunity. How do you wish to respond?
So I received I was served with the PPO. I then went and filed a paper to terminate it.
That's what we do.
If you read the witnesses that have wrote statements on our behalf, my name is not included. This is an issue that happened with my mother, who is the bartender, and I don't feel like I need to be involved. Yes, I did send a message. No, it was not threatening in any way. I have never spoke to her. We were friends on social media. After I sent my message, I didn't find it necessary to have her on there because she was spreading my personal information around in the public that I didn't feel was appropriate. So I unfriended her. Unfortunately, I was put in the middle of a fight, or whatever you want to call it, the night on the 14th.
March 14th.
And I stepped in to intervene. When I stepped in to intervene, at this point, it had already escalated And yes, I did make this statement, I am pregnant, but it wasn't something that, you know, nobody knew at that point, because it was already being spread around the town. I just don't feel like I need to be in the middle of it. If you read the witness statements, I am not the aggressor, I am not the attacker. Everybody had made that very clear. And as a result of what happened the night on the 14th of March, I ended up in the hospital with major abdominal trauma, which I have provided medical records for that.
Well, you provided records of conditions of treatment, but there's nothing. I did review it. It gives you steps on what you need to do.
I have to take that.
Let me take a look here. Follow-up procedures, future appointments if necessary.
The triage patient summary.
What page is that?
It should be the first one attached after my statement. And it's down at the bottom, it says discharge diagnosis.
1:21 weeks gestation of pregnancy,
Yes.
2 trauma during pregnancy.
Yes.
Okay. All right, and I believe you allege in your response that someone had struck you, correct?
Yes.
Not a petitioner.
I was pushed, but I was pushed because,
Well, no, but please answer my question. The petitioner didn't push you or strike you, correct?
during everything that was going on, yes, I was pushed.
I didn't ask whether you were pushed. I asked whether or not you were pushed by the petitioner.
Yes.
Where did you list that in your response?
In my statement. Page 4.
Okay, you state Hope had pushed me into the bar and in self-defense.
And in self-defense to protect myself and my unborn child, I retaliated back and pushed back.
Okay. Did you review the police report that was provided regarding this as well?
No, because this whole incident is not being investigated by the Huron County Sheriff's Department. It's being investigated by the Michigan State Police.
Okay, but that night it was investigated by the sheriff's office, correct?
Correct. When I had given my statement, Officer, can I provide names or?
Oh, absolutely.
Officer Strzeski came out to talk to us, and at the time, from my understanding, there were no charges or allegations being pressed against me. They were all against my mother.
Okay. An individual by the last name of Indo, I-N-D-O, does that ring a bell?
Yes,
Who is that?
she's a bartender at the establishment.
And what's her first name?
Nicole.
Nicole? How do you know Nicole?
She's one of the bartenders at the Wash, and then she is a cousin, I believe.
Okay. And I don't have it in front of me, but according to the police report that the court had the opportunity to review, and I don't know why it's not here, but it indicated that the pushing or the behaviors really were focused on your mother and in part on you. There was nothing that I recall of any pushing. So
during
and I could be wrong, but apparently the Michigan State Police is investigating this now.
yes, it was all turned over to them.
Okay, all right. Have you heard anything regarding the status of this?
I haven't spoke to them in probably a week.
So Are you stating that the petitioner went up to you and pushed you?
During the fight, yes.
Where were you originally when all this started?
So after my mom had called Hope and her boyfriend by their name when they had first walked in the door, I said, it's time that we leave. I had already paid our tabs. I said, it's time that we leave. You know, I can already see where this is going. I said, we need to go. We were waiting for my aunt. She was in the bathroom and my mom had walked up to the front, well, where the bar section is. And I followed her because she was already aggravated. And I said, no, it's time to leave. And I had gotten, after Hope and my mom had their altercation, I had stepped in the middle to try to de-escalate it. And
But you were expecting, why in the world would you do that?
there was a lot of drinking involved.
By who?
My mother, my aunt.
Well, why were you even there that night?
I was just getting dinner and I was their driver's back home.
At 10 in the evening?
Yes. They had been drinking and
They
asked
served dinner 10 o'clock at night?
They stopped serving at 8. Stopped serving dinner at 8 o'clock.
Okay. Does the last name of Koth ring a bell?
Yes.
The court recalls when it authorized the petition that you claimed that you were punched, or someone claimed, it may have been Zindu, that claimed that you were punched by someone by the last name of Koth.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to add to this?
No, I guess just after reviewing two different statements that I had been served with, and then as a copy of what was sent to me on 3/18, there's two very different stories. Like I said, in each statement from each witness, my name's not even listed. And I just don't feel like this is a situation that I need to be involved in when the problem did not originate with me to begin with.
Okay. Do you have any witnesses you intend to
Not that I can present today, no.
Okay. All right. All right. Ms. Bedford? No other witnesses. This is your argument. Anything you want to say?
Yes, I do believe that these personal protection orders, do need to stay in place for my safety.
But it's now alleged that you pushed Ms. Tony.
That is incorrect.
Okay, but, and maybe I failed to ask this, but I'm going to ask this. How is it, you described how Ms. Toner's mother confronted you. I guess I need to know, what is your side regarding whether you had any confrontation with Ms. Toner that night, March 14th?
So I was first approached by her mother, and then she was to follow behind her.
Did you move at all from your location when you were initially?
No,
Okay.
no,
So if you're stating that if Ms. Toner had contact with you, Ms. Toner would have approached you, correct?
I was approached by her.
Okay, and I'm assuming you're denying that.
No, I did approach her.
Okay. Okay,
After the statement was made, she had made the statement to my mom, you're an effing B, get out of my face. You can't tell me that I can't be here.
Okay.
And then she looked me dead in my face and said, the same exact thing, and you're an effing B too, get out of my face.
Okay.
And then after that, that's when all hell broke loose.
Understanding. Your final argument then, please.
What I said previously, I guess I will use as my final argument.
Okay, fair enough. All right, same as in the last case, except this personal protection order was granted. The respondent may file a motion to terminate a personal protection order within 14 days of being served of it. She's timely done that. And the hearing is scheduled. The court has the opportunity to hear the evidence presented, and the petitioner has the burden of persuasion in a hearing held on a motion to terminate or modify a personal protection order. That's under the Pickering case, 253 Mishap 694 in 2002. The court heard testimony of a situation that occurred on or about, I believe, February 13 initially, 2026. Petitioner enters a local establishment, and according to her testimony, was with a coworker or supervisor, but again, friend or coworker, and they were a particular spot in this establishment, and they had a private conversation. Part of the conversation apparently involved the respondent. Come to find out, the respondent's mother works at the establishment, had clearly overheard what was stated, and as a result, there was interaction between the petitioner and the respondent's mother. As a result of that, according to the petitioner, she claims she apologized for her behavior, for making her comments, and for whatever reason, it didn't stop there. She attempted a second time, according to her testimony. And at that point, not even before the petitioner left the establishment, a message is sent, appears via Snapchat, and I'm going to read the whole thing into the record. I don't like doing this with the cuss words, but it bears repeating at 11:37 p.m. Must not have anything better to do with your fucking time, huh? Have to go and run your mouth at the local bars. Small town, word travels fast. Better watch what you have to fucking say. I don't like saying that, but that's the message. According to the petitioner, she felt threatened by that message. Respondent says, no, that's not a threatening message. So the court has to consider that. Fast forward to March 14, 2026, and the court recalls in the initial petition that the respondent's mother had claimed to have barred the petitioner from going back into the establishment. However, the initial petition also indicated that petitioner's supervisor contacted the owner of the establishment, who stated there was no such barring. That was in the initial petition. March 14 comes along, evening hours, 10 o'clock, 10:30, whatever the time may be. Respondent claims she's there for dinner. Petitioner comes in. Petitioner has someone with her. Petitioner's boyfriend, I believe. I don't know if there were any other individuals there. I believe there were. They went into the establishment, and the respondent's mother, who was not working at the time, raises her voice, starts calling out the petitioner. All while this is happening, respondent is in the establishment as well. It appears to the court, according to the testimony, petitioner stood up, or I should say she stayed in her spot. Respondent's mother went and approached her. We have alleged pushing, and we also have the respondent, according to the petitioner, approach the petitioner and push her. That's what she stated. Respondent's position is, I was minding my own business. It's really my mother. And when I saw things were going bad, it's time to leave. So respondent attempts to leave. She claims petitioner went to her, pushed her, and in the melee that happens. Now, Clearly, there was one unconsented communication between the parties on February 13, 2026. Now, mind you, talking about other people can cause problems, clearly. And it did in this situation. I don't know the details. I don't want to know the details of what may have been said, but apparently there was a private conversation between the petitioner and a friend or coworker. Things were said, allegedly privately, still heard by respondent's mother, and that starts it. Before the petitioner leaves, as stated, the message was sent at 11 something in the evening. And respondent's position is that's not a threatening message. Court takes judicial notice of the last sentence. Better watch what you have to effing say. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Fast forward to March 14, 2026. Petitioner re-enters the establishment. And I already brought up what the allegations were between the parties going on. And what I find significant to determine, because it's a burden of persuasion that is upon the petitioner to maintain the personal protection order. The response of the respondent is, hey, look, I'm kind of caught in the middle. It really involves my mother. I shouldn't be a part of this. I just want to be out of it, which is understandable. But petitioner claims she never approached the respondent. Respondent claims she did approach, but she was trying to get out of the establishment. That's what she stated. Petitioner said when she was approached, that respondent was in her face and get out of my face. Respondent claims that the petitioner also said that get out of my face. That would indicate to the court that the respondent approached the petitioner. Why would she state that? And why would the respondent admit that the petitioner made that statement if the respondent did not get into the face of the petitioner? That's the second unconsented contact. Regarding pushing, petitioner claims she didn't push, respondent claims she did, petitioner pushed her, but the court takes judicial notice of the initial petition in the police report, which indicated that the reason for the alleged trauma of the respondent was some sort of punch that was from a third party, unrelated to the petitioner. Court finds two unconsented contacts. Personal protection order is appropriate and it shall continue. That is all. Off the record.